Afternoon, guys. Got a few things to get through before we get onto the coaching video. Start off with the milestones. So first Division 1 game on the boundary, Ben Janetsky. 50th game in the goal, Chris May. 100th game, field umpire Andrew Story, and a big 500th game for Ian McGregor in the goal. So well done to all you guys. I know I haven't really done too much three umpire system in Div 1 games this year. Just numbers haven't really allowed it. I'm going to do my best to make it happen each week from here on in. Throw some different guys into Div 1. Obviously, performances count. And keep performing in Div 2, and there's a chance that you'll get a go, even if it's just for one Div 1 game. We're going to throw some different faces in there. All right, I'm going to put a couple of reminders out again this week, and I'm thinking the reminders are probably for guys that either aren't at training or on the Zoom, or probably don't read their coaching notes, but I'll keep saying it if we keep having issues. So B grade games must have boundary umpires in place before we start the game. Yes, I know clubs may not be aware of it or forgotten that we're asking them to have boundary umpires. Obviously, Div 1 reserves, we provide them, but in most cases, unless we're short. But for all the other B grade games, clubs must provide one boundary umpire each, and we do not start the game until they have that in place. We had another couple of games start last week without boundary umpires, and we need to take that into our hands and make sure that they do provide the boundary umpires. So it's still okay in C grade for there not to be boundary umpires, but the league has asked that B grades definitely do have them. And just a reminder that all field and boundary umpires must wear green wristbands and the new CMAX shirt. And for the goalies, they don't need to wear wristbands, obviously, but they also need to have the new CMAX shirt. So we're getting a few reports that guys aren't wearing wristbands. Whether you use them or not doesn't matter. We all need to look the same and wear the uniform properly. So make sure you have them on you. I had a couple of red cards for tripping in the last month. And I haven't had that really over my time at Adelaide Footy League. So I just want to make mention, while tripping is a reportable offence, I reckon in most cases, nearly all cases, it should just be a free kick or at worst a yellow card. It would have to be pretty vicious, likely to cause a serious injury for us to be reporting tripping. In both cases, we downgraded the red to a yellow. And if you think it's of concern, then a yellow would probably suffice. As I said, it would have to be a really vicious trip for it to be considered a red. We're worried about getting the strikes, the dangerous tackles, the umpire abuse penalised, but tripping, I don't know whether too many people would see that as an offence where they need to miss multiple weeks. Something outside of umpiring, I'm going to shoot it with the coaching notes. Amin Shahadi's on the City Today Fun Run committee, and they've been looking for a while to find an event manager, and he's just approached me to see if I can send the word out. If any of you, I think they're looking for a fairly full-time position, but want to get stuck into something between June and October. Like I said, I'll send that in the coaching notes, and you can contact them in if you want to show an interest in that. I think that's pretty much all my notes. Before we get on to the coaching video, has anyone got any questions or comments from the previous weekend before we get on to the coaching video? Now's the time to bring anything up. All going too smoothly. Come on, guys. It's got to be something we can sink our teeth into. We did have a few red cards from the weekend. A bit of a spike on the weekend. It happens sometimes. We're working our way through that. Again, with the red cards, if you need to just let me know afterwards that you've done it. If you've got any concerns or any questions before you enter it, let me know. We can work our way through it. But I think on the whole, the guys that did do them on the weekend handled them pretty well. All right, let's go to the coaching video. Oh yeah, just a quick mention before we go to the coaching video. Next Monday night, we won't do a coaching video. We're going to have an AFL umpire come on and do an interview and learn a bit about him. And one of the young guys that is just starting this year. He's from South Australia. He's now living in Melbourne. A fella called Tom Bryce. He's going to come along and have a chat to us about his story and about his experience at AFL level. So it'll be a good chat. Tom's a fantastic fella. You'll enjoy hearing from him. All right, so let's get on to the coaching video. Hopefully you've all had a bit of a chance to have a look at this. Tom Keatley, you want to unmute yourself?
Hello, yes.
Have you had a chance to look at the video, mate?
Actually did, yep.
Oh, good on you, mate. I'll have a crack at decision number 1.
So now on the far wing, bit of scrap for the ball. Oh, high contact there. Umpire thought nothing of it. And another ball up. So it's recited on this part of the
All right, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I would. The way the player's been slung around and he's heading to the turf, I'd probably like to call that a sling around tackle. I wouldn't pull a card or anything for it. I don't think the intention was ill, but yeah, there was a sling there. I'd probably call it a sling.
Don't have a problem with you saying that. These are hard ones. So if there's any concern with the tackle, if you believe there may have been a high contact there or there could have been a sling, erring on the side of the ball player is one of our philosophies. I actually reckon, like the commentator said, there was a high tackle. I can't see it from that video. And I reckon there's a strong enough sling for me to pay a dangerous tackle. But if I was watching a video and I saw you pay that, Tom, I'd be marking that as correct. I'd be backing you in. So area on the side of the ball player, no one loses any sleep. And with the focus on dangerous tackles, if you paid a free kick for that, no hassles at all. I'm also comfortable with what Steve did. And he didn't pay anything. The thing I really like about this example and what Steve did well is he kept moving. So when there's a pack and you don't stand still, don't walk, and you keep moving, you're going to find the angle where you can see the ball player's head and shoulders, and you're not going to be able to get a player in the way. So I like the way he did that in this clip, and I'm comfortable with him calling for a ball up. Because he saw it as the tackle as being just okay. It's probably one where you could say to the players, be careful of the tackle when you're taking him to the ground. Make sure you don't sling. But if you reckon there's a big enough slinging action there and you pay a free kick, no hassles at all. So it all makes sense. Anyone want to mention that? I know that sounds a bit of sitting on the fence, but the difference between okay play on and a dangerous tackle is so fine. And if you believe it's a sling that is dangerous, then pay the free kick. Err on the side of pay the free kick. If you think he's taken him to ground with a duty of care, which I reckon he has, I reckon he's done too much wrong there, then play on is okay. Yeah, interesting one. That's why we put them on there for discussion. Next one, I saw Ben Kernich. I'll ask the first year guys to do them this week. So Ben, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Have you had a chance, mate, to have a look at the video yet?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I'll get you to have a go at the second one.
For the most part, it's been in that one arc to the right of screen.
All right. This is, well, I can say it's a blue mooner, but it actually happens a little bit more than you realise. We happened one year. It happened in 4 different grand finals, and I reckon all but one of the umpires got it right. So yeah, what would you do in that scenario?
If the boundary umpire has said the ball hasn't come back in, it's a throw in from where the mark was paid or the person was set up on the mark.
Mate. Good answer. Spot on. So yeah, 100%. Well done. So I think in the grand finals where we got it wrong, and by the way, no, anyone that wasn't an umpire didn't pick up what was wrong. I think the free kick was paid down the field where the ball landed. And in this case here, you'll see the umpire reset it because they realise it hasn't come in and they give him another kick. But the actual right answer is exactly what you said. So it's a throw in from where the mark was. But that is the rule. But as I said, players, clubs, anyone that's not an umpire wouldn't really make an issue of it anyway. But I'll put it on there because it does happen a bit. In that scenario, if the ball's kicked and it's not brought back into play, it's a throw in.
I think, Colin, yeah, that might be one where, like, because it happens so fast, maybe because it doesn't happen much, you might just forget and do, like, you might just reset it or whatever, or pay it down there. But
yeah, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen very often. Actually, I can't remember it happening in any of my games in my 30 years. So
you probably more see it on like a set shot at goal where they're out of bounds or something.
No, the ones I've seen on the Adelaide Footy League videos are generally around the ground. But yeah, the rule is if the ball doesn't come back into play, then it's the throw from where they kicked it. Yeah. Well done, mate.
Also, nice haircut, Colin.
Oh, thanks, mate. Appreciate it. All right. Now I'm looking around for someone else that's in their first year. Adam Harris. Oh, no, actually, there we go. Sorry, I've got someone. Mark Austin. Can you unmute yourself, mate? No. All right, we'll go to Adam Harris. I know it's not your first year, mate. You there?
Yeah.
All right, you've got number 3.
Yeah.
That'll work through the legs of everyone. It's clean ball to Merrill. Bumped off the footy now and running away with it. Shannon Upton kicks smothered, goes back into his hands. Tackled there laid by, that looked like it might have been Carl Siebels there. Or in fact, it was Nick Blanche.
All right, what's your thoughts?
It's hard to see because, like, obviously the camera went to pan left then came back, but it kind of looked like it was high because it didn't look like he ducked. It looked like he was just trying to gather the ball after the smother.
Yeah, so if you see it, that he's got his head down trying to collect the ball and the player comes front on, then absolutely free kick. And if you paid a free kick in that scenario, you'd be err on the side of the ball player, I'd mark you right. But having the benefit of video, slowing it down, watching it over again, I actually reckon Chris got it right in this scenario. I reckon his head was up and it came down after he took possession of the ball. So I'm totally happy with a play on, ball up decision. But again, err on the side of the ball player, you pay a high tackle, no problem.
Easy.
Anyone want to question, comment on any of those 3 things before we go through the rest of the video? All right, we'll go on to some marking contest examples. So what we're looking for marking contest free kicks. You got to ask, why doesn't the player mark the ball? And it hasn't been because some illegal contact. So in this case here, really good free kick by Stefan. So 2 actions. There's a push out first before the PAC player goes to mark the ball. It's really interesting there. You'll see a lot of them don't understand the rule. So you are allowed to hold your ground, and you're allowed to hold your ground and go for the mark the whole time. but you're not allowed to push, bump, shepherd a player out of the way and then go for the ball. So he actually puts his arm up to say all I was doing was holding, putting my arm out. Now, if by putting your arm up and you then contact the player and put him out of the contest before you go for the ball, it's a free kick.
Colin,
Yeah.
I noticed on the weekend watching a few AFL games that type of free wasn't paid on at least 2 or 3 occasions.
Yep.
This weekend, sort of they've come relaxed on it in the AFL.
Well, they went through that phase of black and white. If your hands are in the back, it's a free kick, and it was decided to change that interpretation where you are allowed to hold your ground, and it's put a real grey area back into the game. So yeah, if in the eyes of the umpire you are just holding your ground and then going for the ball the whole time, it is play on. I think you're right, they've probably relaxed it too much at AFL where they don't pay some that should be paid. The players, I mean, I'm a Crows player, but I reckon Taylor Walker gets away with a bit too much at times. I'm a Crows supporter, I meant to say. Did I say I'm a Crows player? I reckon Tex Walker gets away with a bit of pushing the guy out before he goes for the ball. And they do let him get away with a bit more. So I don't disagree with you. But outside of holding the ball, it's probably the most difficult rule to judge these days because of the slight difference between holding the ground and pushing the player out. So let's keep it rolling. In this instance here, the ball's kicked. Clearly there, the arms are in the back and causing the push out. He's not going for a spoil there. So the key to picking those ones up is watching the players in your zone and being at the right distance away from the contest. So here, arms go out, pushes the player out of the contest. She's looking around a bit guilty, realising she might have done something wrong, and he gets caught out. So good umpiring by Allison to pick that up. So having early vision on the contest by focusing on the players in your zone, not so much having an awareness of where the ball is and know that it's coming towards you. But in this case here, you can see Jason focusing on the players going for the ball, and the arm goes around and restricts the Ebersound player from going for the mark. So having that early vision can really help out determine what the contact is in a marking contest. So I think we use this on the interpretations videos. Simo sees from where he is, perfect positioning, the push out before the mark arrives. A bit of stuff afterwards he has to deal with. So the best position in a marking contest being 20, 25 metres away, just short of the contest. And there you're gonna get the free kicks more often than not if you're in the right position. So here there's some high contact, some chopping of the arms. You don't want to be behind the contest. Work your way to be side on and just in front of it.
So good battle so far. Pembroke
So Emmanuel here is in perfect positioning to judge. And he sees there's a push out before he takes the mark. So a really good example there of the right positioning to be for a marking contest. So one of our main messages, I think you get this each week on the coaching video, looking to react to just the obvious. Don't go looking for free kicks. They should stand out and clearly here, players late to the contest, and when they're late to the contest, they're not really trying to contest the mark. They're just trying to spoil, and if there's contact illegally, you need to pay it. This one's a really good pickup from Cross. There's a bump out, really shepherding for his teammate to go and play well. I reckon that's Jared Pachenko that gave away that free kick. And often if you see 2 players versus 1, you'll see one of them try and do something like that. So this one here, the false cannon player has no eyes for the footy, puts the arm out. There's contact to the broadview player, which causes him to drop the mark. False cannon guy doesn't like it, but clearly a free kick. So watching the players in your zone and reacting to the obvious and blatant is the key. All right, that's the coaching video. Any questions, comments on any of that?
Hi, Colin. Yeah, I got a question.
Oh,
So
I was
just
gonna
to
say, there had to be one at least.
so there was a couple there that were like a push in the side in the contest. So they just used the body. And the commentator himself said like, oh, he was strong in the contest there, took the mark. Any action that makes the other player unable to compete for the ball, that's a free kick, right?
So unless they're holding their ground, so all they're doing is holding their ground and going for the ball the whole time, that's permissible. But if they push in the side, if they bump, if they do anything that puts the player out first and then they go for the ball, it's a free kick. Does that make sense? It's a fine line. It's a fine line. But yes, a push in the side, a deliberate push in the side is a free kick if they're trying to get rid of them first before they go for the ball. If they're just holding their ground and they sort of, standing alongside each other and they make body contact together, and one's a bigger body and the smaller body bounces off, then it's play on and it's a mark. So that's a very fine difference. But yes, if you see a push and the player is put out of the contest, free kick. Does that make sense?
Yeah, got you. Sometimes that's sort of just viewed as sort of, better contest in the marking. But if you're
clarify
that.
The ones where it's play on is when the player positions themselves and they hold their ground and they're going for the ball the whole time.
Yeah.
And if the other player comes and engages with them and is going for the ball as well, but the bigger body, they collide and one gets put out of the way just because they're both going for the footy, then it's play on. But if you push the player out, you're putting them out of the contest. 2 actions is a free kick.
Yeah, got you.
So some of the cues are, are the eyes on the ball? Is the player late to the contest? Is it a 2 versus 1 scenario? They're all things that you should be on the watch out for. But the reason you pay a free kick is because there's 2 actions and there's intention to put the player out before going for the ball yourself. All right. Anyone else? Howard, you got your hand up?
Yeah, g'day.
Hey, mate. Sorry, I've got no lunch for you this week.
It's very disappointing. Put me on the list for the next one.
Okay,
the Car Buying Club was magnificent. Thank you. I thought I'd just give it. I was down at the sports. So it's not related to the video, but I was down at the sports centre last Friday, and so there are some uniform supplies, and the good news is that certainly the tops are being made locally now. So the sizing is a bit more realistic in terms of a large or an XL or whatever. I know Matty Schmidt had to go for a 4XL or something like that, but I mean, that was nothing to do with his trip to Greece. But anyway, so there are some, so they have kind of got on board with it. And if people are a bit struggling with the uniform or maybe the sizing or whatever, certainly they seem to have things back on track a bit now. And I managed to get my shirt Friday, and all was very, very good.
Yeah, good to hear. Yeah, no, I'm wearing a 3XL, which is ridiculous. I've never worn anything like that before, but yeah, the sizing was all over the place. So yeah, if you haven't got your C-Mac shirt, make sure you go in. If you've got problems with the sizing, go in and sort that out. Thanks, Howard.
No worries. And just to add, I thought while I was down there, 749 Port Road, I thought I'd just take a little further trip down to the old Port Road where I found Big Shed Brewing, and just have to say, and it's probably certainly a a bit of a plug for Marty's joint, but it was magnificent down there. Got down there around 6 o'clock. They had some live entertainment come on at 6:30. Beers and food were great, and I think, of course, the segue to that is that we are selling Big Shed Brewing on a Wednesday evening after training. I sat on a few of the Desi's, the zero alcohol beer, and that was surprisingly good. So,
if people have no idea what Marty's, what Howard was talking about, Marty Daunt is one of our umpires. He works for this brewery. Obviously, gives some free beer for the association to use.
That's it.
So Marty, so Howard's just getting his plug in. So yeah,
there you go. But it's very close to where you get the uniform. So I'd suggest go and get your top if you haven't got it, and then head down to Big Shed.
All right, thanks, mate. Thanks for the plug. While we're on a jovial note, I have to tell you this story. This made my weekend, made my year, in fact. Some of you may know I do a bit of Uber Eats driving just to get a bit of extra income for the kids, and the cost of living, etc., going up. Yesterday, I dropped into a lady's place to deliver some food for Sunday morning, as they tend to order a fair bit on Sunday mornings. And she was wearing a crow's top. And I went up and had a bit of a chat of football. And then she turns around to me and she says, "I remember you when you were umpiring AFL." And I was like, "You're kidding. That was 20 years ago." So it absolutely made my day. And I had to relate that story to you. There are some absolute footy freaks out there that know anything and everything. So, all right, guys. We are wasting time now, so I think we'll wind it up, and hope to see you all on Wednesday for training.